This is week 14 of the NFL, and in this Need to Know, we're talking receivers. Much like the running back position this week, receiver ownership is going to be concentrated between two cheap guys thrust into starting roles and a few of the expensive studs. The cheap guys are Chris Godwin and Courtland Sutton, and the expensive ones are Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, and Davante Adams. Because the receiver position is volatile, I like finding reasons to fade the chalk. So, Chris Godwin is the third option on an offense facing a great defense. Courtland Sutton will see tons of Richard Sherman and plays for a run-first team. Keenan Allen won't get the volume he needs to hit his ceiling in a blowout. DeAndre Hopkins hasn't hit 100 yards in a month, and Houston barely throws. And Davante Adams is overpriced, and the game temp of 20 degrees will suppress passing. Whew. Okay, look, I'm still going to have exposure to some of these guys, but when I do, it'll likely be paired with their quarterback. Especially on teams with the obvious value running backs, you need to be really careful about playing the chalky receivers. The pivots I like this week are Odell Beckham, Julio Jones, and Deshaun Hamilton. Despite the Redskins starting Mark Sanchez on Sunday, Vegas expects a close game, so I think we'll see plenty of pass attempts from the Giants. That means opportunity for Beckham, whose price is taking a dip following a month of mediocre games. Meanwhile, Julio Jones has been on fire recently, provided you can forget about the 2-catch game he had at Baltimore just last week. Before that, Julio had 6 straight games over 100 yards, and with the Falcons as small underdogs in Green Bay, we can expect plenty of targets coming Julio's way. And Deshaun Hamilton is the min-priced Broncos receiver taking over the Emmanuel Sanders role in the slot. It's entirely possible he leads the team in targets, but it's hard to say what he'll do with them. He did average 16 yards a catch in his final season of college ball, but I'm not sure how that will translate to Sunday. For contrarian plays, I like Kenny Golliday, Calvin Ridley, and Antonio Callaway. I know Golliday plays for a bad offense and will likely face off against top corner Patrick Peterson, but Golliday is seeing a ridiculous target share on the Lions, and he's tall and talented enough to outjump anyone for a ball. If you watched last week's game, you know Golliday was close to making a few really big plays, but instead he put up a weak score and got a price cut. Calvin Ridley is another guy whose price is down, and I love the game script with the Falcons likely trailing in Green Bay. I don't really pretend to know when Ridley will catch one of his fluky touchdowns. I just look for low price and high opportunity, which is what I see this week. And while I like all the receiving threats on the Browns, Antonio Callaway stands out because he's the deep threat on a team facing one of the worst secondaries in the league. He was one holding penalty away from a huge box score last week, but instead, we get him at a cheaper price this week. Alright guys, that's it for receivers. If you want to see our week 14 recommendations and need to know plays for quarterbacks, running backs, and tight ends, this is where they're at.